facilitate self-assertion and personal success. There is no need to reinvent the wheel to achieve these objectives. We rather aim at strengthening existing structures. Thus we want to inform migrants about the German sports system and its sports programs in a better way and to motivate them for participation. To develop the awareness of sport clubs, to recognize the problems of migrants and to support them in their activities directed towards integration. In order to reach these aims, we have already used different measures and program modules for a number of years. Sport clubs are naturally most important in this context, to which I shall refer a little later in more detail. At this point, I would like to specially emphasize the significance of advanced training programs. The integration of persons with a migrational background in sports clubs frequently does not take place in a way as if this were self-understood. To this effect, a conscious process of intercultural awareness building of function holders and staff members of organized sport is required to approach migrants on the spot and to gain their interest in an active participation in club activities. For this purpose, we have developed our concept of advanced training named Sport Intercultural. Moreover, a number of other measures are implemented within the framework of our program, which in each case are intended as a specific contribution in and by sports on the way towards the integration of people with a migrational background. Programs for integration serve as means to establish, cultivate and intensify contacts with the target group and with cooperation partners. The different events can be organized as one-day or several-day activities which are mainly oriented toward the practice of sport for all and leisure sport activities. Besides sport and game festivals, sport courses and tournaments, major integrated sport events are also part of the diverse possibilities to organize events of integration. Integration work is focusing on sports clubs, which we call integrative sports clubs in our program. Continuous instruction, advice, and also financial support by the directors of the program are of central importance. We try to establish integrative sport clubs where this is required due to the local social situation. That means in places like congested areas where we find a high percentage of inhabitants with a migrational background, in social hotspots, etc. Sport clubs know the problems in their area and are embedded in local networks which facilitate cooperation and therefore also an effective work. Thus, the nationwide sport structures in our country, DOSB, member organizations, enable us to reach a nationwide implementation of the program Integration Through Sport at grassroots level. What are the main tasks of our integrative sport clubs? In the first place, they make jointly practiced sport activities possible. In everyday contacts of sportsmen and sportswomen among one another, during training, at competitions, etc., they pay attention to sporting skills, but also lay special emphasis on the development of language skills, teaming abilities, flexibility, the handling of standards and rules, not only competition rules. The clubs not only succeed in integrating active female and male migrants, but also their families, when they are invited to and involved in the most different club events. This interpersonal relationship area is in the forefield of these efforts. In order to interest more migrants for these activities, we need to have qualified staff and good programs in the clubs. We increasingly also qualify migrants themselves to become volunteers in integrative sport clubs due to their own migrational experience. They used to have a better access to the target group. Integrative sport clubs also have made good experiences with specific sport programs, in particular, for example, for men with soccer and martial arts. Other clubs pay special attention to the needs of girls and women or elderly migrants. As you can see, the program approach is very diverse, and by noting some approximate facts and figures, you may get an idea of the size of this program. Results of evaluation. Now you might ask yourselves, with all due respect to our efforts, but do these program activities lead to results? Do they really produce effects? To measure the effects and to continue to further improve our program was asked for a scientific evaluation. The first results of this evaluation show us that there is still much to do, but they also illustrate that we are on a good way with integration through sport. As a matter of fact, we could increase the number of people with a migrational background take up first sporting activities, to regularly participate in club sports and also take over responsibilities as exercise leaders and in other functions. For example, there are about 20,000 immigrants who take part in integrative sport groups. This corresponds to a proportion of about 55% as compared with the proportion of migrants in the total population, which amounts to 18.4% and about 10% in normal German sports clubs in all. For then, half of the members of integrative sports groups have taken part in club life by working as exercise leaders, by taking over formal positions in the club, or by means of informal cooperation activities. Over 1/3 of the sports groups include participants from more than 3 different nationalities. Furthermore, we succeeded in implementing programs and establishing concepts which are aimed at achieving an increasing awareness building, not only among the public in general, but also on the part of the leaders and staff members of organized sport. All this enhances our hopes for a case of integration. As a consequence, we can state sport is a driving force of integration, and for this reason a social-political factor of high importance. Nevertheless, sport should not take on too much. It is one factor, but not the only one. In this respect, well-devised programs and good framework conditions support the contributions of sport for integration. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention. I finish my presentation by underlining that the German Olympic Sports Confederation gladly places its offer for initiatives, its experience and its national network in the center of the common task of integration. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Only Janos and the Olympic family can claim to do that. It should be noted that Janos, through its affiliate, is the only organisation that is representative of sporting bodies that has a constitutional priority to develop the Sport for All movement. However, in claiming this distinction, Giannis must also acknowledge it lacks the expertise with its own ranks to provide scientific and education, support and assistance to sporting bodies. Conversely, other bodies with interest in the Sport for All movement, and at last count I could work out that there's 43 internationally that claim to have that sort of representation, have only a limited number of